Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. And this is mainly a laser tip. Somebody's wanting to engrave on pins. I've turned a lot of pins and I've engraved a lot of pins. These are a slimline type pin. And this is more of a traditional size, and then these are a little oversized, but as personal preference. And especially on the wood, you get more wood and you can actually engrave a little deeper. But his question was he was going to write in the one I'm doing the video for. You picked Arial. Especially for pens, I like fonts that are a little rounded. Like the eyes. That's going to look more like an eye. That L is going to be rounded. The dot square. But that's personal preference, so that doesn't matter. Now, so you've got your pen, and these are all slim lines. So the top barrel is going to be the same length, which is kind of the advantage. So you just need to take one of the pins and measure from that end to that end. So you'll just use a ruler, but on Corel, we're going to use a parallel dimension tool, and it is 2.31 inches. So what I do then is I take a rectangle and I measure, and I take the ratio off, and I make it 2.31. That's the size of your box. Now, with your ruler, and he's right, I mean, every pin's got a little bit different thickness. So you want to, figure out what you're writing, and you can do this with a ruler, but I would go from about right there to right there, so 0.3, and then it would actually maybe 0.25. So you could make them all 0.25. So we're going to take our box now and make it 0.25. So it's the length of the barrel and the width of the barrel. And then I'm going to hit P and put it in the center of the page. And then I'm going to take my do believe, and I'm going to hit P and put it in the center of the page. And then that way you can kind of, so it's a little bit over, but really that would work. But I would reduce it. I do not like scrunching fonts up. I do it occasionally. You could do that, or you could just lower it to like the 22 points. And then hit P and put it in the center of the page. Make this outline a hairline in red. And I asked him this morning what kind of laser he has, and he has an Epilogue Mini, which has a red dot pointer and center. So then I would put my pen jig in, and I would take my red dot. Let's just make a red dot, a little bitty red dot, turn it red. And I would put my red dot pointer, let's just do it on the pen. I'd put my red dot pointer, let me get rid of these measurements. I'd put my red dot pointer on that pen. Then leave your door open. Whoop. To your laser will not fire. And have, just kind of ballpark it. And then run that, let's just put this in the picture too. And by doing this, it's going to be in the center. The name's in the background, so let's go to Object, Order, Front of Page. So with your lid open, you can run this at I put 0 power, just in case you forget to shut your lid. And move your pen jig. Like if this is your laser bed, engrave way down in here, so with your mini you can see it. And a large, like mine, you've got like a 16-inch bed, it looks like. If you can look straight down on it, you're going to be an advantage. If you have it up here, if your pen jig is a piece of wood, you can square it up off the side. You could actually put a square on your bed, or a board that's square, and then butt it up against your board. And then run this line at like 0 power and say 30 speed. And it will actually trace this line. And that way you know that you're in the center of the pen, which we're not exactly right now. I'm going to set your nudge factor to 0.001 and move the pen over a little bit. So mainly what I'm looking for is this line and this line. And then once I get it, I know it's centered on the pin, and you can either move your laser head or move the pin, back and forth. And then run this line, and if it's there, you can see you're going to be even amount off each end. It's going to be center. And then just click on your text and run it center, because that text will be in the center. The downside in this, you're going to have to, every time you're going to have to refocus and maybe resize that. We actually made that 0.25, so that'll fit on both pins. That's a little bit big on that pin, but I don't know if this pin is proportionate in a picture. I did reduce it. Unless the pins are 100% identical, you've got to focus every time, and you've got to center every time. Now, if you had, and even if I had pins identical and I'm only doing 5 pins of one name, I'm going to do them one at a time. Now, if I have 400 pins to do, I do them on a bed, and I turn them, perpendicular this way, so there's less dead time. But, well, in this case, it wouldn't really matter, but it will be a lot quicker than running 5 at a time. Anyway, I hope I answered the question. And you've got your pins oriented right. I normally put the pin clip up so it's going to fit in the person's hand. He'll be able to read it if he's right-handed. And just, like on this pin, there's very little wood before you get to the brass tube, which isn't 100% bad, with the exception of the inside of the letters. If you engrave it too deep, these could fall out. So be real gentle with your speed and your power compared to this pin. This pin's got maybe twice the amount of wood on it than this pin, because it's the same brass sleeve in there. Now, if you go all the way to the metal, if your CA glue held, you can actually fill it in with some black paint sometime. But be kind of careful. Sometimes I'll engrave pins twice, but if it looks good, I'll do it lightly, and if it looks good, I'll do it again. But there's where you run into trouble by getting it too deep. I hope that helped him a little bit. Thank you for watching.